Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicToday.com, here with the 10 most evocative quiet endings of symphonies. Now, I decided to do my evocative quiet ending little series here, a series lit. There'll be a few videos, I hope, because we always talk about how, ending quietly is like the kiss of death for concert programming. Because people want to have a rousing conclusion. Conductors want to have a rousing conclusion to the first or second half of the concert. And works that end softly are generally disfavored. Unless, of course, they're like some larger Strauss tone poems, in which case, sometimes they make it. But it even seems that those are not getting quite the love they used to get. Because people really are, artists really are, they want the applause. At classical concerts these days anyway, it's a mandatory standing ovation at the end of the evening, no matter how dreadful the concert was. It's all kind of meaningless, frankly, but it's a fact that pieces that end quietly tend to have issues. There are exceptions, and some of them are on this list. Now, I did do a list of symphonies and concertos that end softly previously, but that was more about the overall global work. Here, I want to talk about the ending itself, that quiet ending, which is just so fabulous that it's something you actually anticipate and like and want. And it couldn't be otherwise. That's pretty true of the other works too, but these are really, really special. A couple of the works on that earlier list reappear here, but most of them are new. So get ready. And of course, if you have a selection of pieces that you love that end quietly, please supply them. But again, it's the ending itself which is special. Not just a piece of music that ends quietly. It's something that has that je ne sais quoi that you wait for and just give a shiver run down your spine when it happens. Number one, Mahler, Das Lied von der Erde, which is a symphony. Let's make no mistake, first of all. And second of all, whoa, what an ending. It's really special, isn't it? You have the mezzo-soprano singing forever, forever, ewig, ewig, over and over again, as the music enacts the foreverness. You have rippling celesta and harp and plucking mandolin and that single dissonant note on the English horn, and then the ending is unresolved. It just drifts off into the Empyrean blue beyond. Whoa, baby, that's an ending. My goodness, it couldn't possibly be more fulfilling. Actually, the idea is that it be yearning and unfulfilled, but it's a fulfilling unfulfilled. It's paradoxical. It's incredible. Next, Vaughan-Williams, his Pastoral Symphony, number 3, which has a finale that begins and ends with a wordless soprano offstage vocalese. Come on, folks. How are you going to do a more evocative ending than that? You just are sitting there and you hear coming from backstage, woo. That's not what it is, but it's pretty impressive, kind of amazing. His Symphonia Antarctica, by the way, does something similar with a wordless choir and a wind machine, but I think the solo voice in the Pastoral Symphony has to sort of take the palm. It's just an amazing stroke of genius, and it really is no other symphony that's anything like it. That ends like it. Actually, there's no other symphony that's like it in the other bits too. But yeah, wow, what a fabulous way to conclude. Then there's Martinú's Third Symphony. People don't talk about this work. This is a tremendous piece of music, a tragic piece of music. And the ending it has a multi-phase coda, I think you want to call it. The opening begins with great turbulence, very quick, very exciting, music of struggle and anxiety. And then it settles down. And it becomes a series of episodes, mostly soft, finally trying to create a triumphant climax, but failing to do so, and then just dissolving into soft string chords, but they're underpinned by a piano doing abrupt dunk, dunk, and then just slicing it off at the end. And it's really powerful stuff emotionally. Martinů is one of those composers who, for those who know him, I mean, even when you talk about his expressive range, we don't generally get into how powerful his music can be, and how deeply expressive and sometimes sad and tragic. And the Third Symphony is really, really magnificent in that respect. And so you should give that finale a listen. It is haunting, a remarkable piece of music, really is. Next, Malcolm Arnold, Symphony No. 5. Oh, wow, is this a killer? I mean, the finale is a fife and drum corps. Da, 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 da. Like that. And, with drums and things doing its stuff, its little march stuff. And then at the climax, the tacky tune from the slow movement comes back. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, like that, rising to a glorious romantic climax that's suddenly sliced off at the height of its power, and there's nothing left but some string chords and little taps on the chimes. Bong. Oh, it's chilling. Really, really fabulous. And emotionally, completely unexpected. It's just marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. So is the conclusion of Alberic Magnard's Fourth Symphony. This was on the previous list. Ooh, this is so perfect. Absolutely perfect. Here we're dealing with a phrase. It's a cadence. At the end of the first movement, ya da 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 da. Yeah, oh God. There, that's the phrase. That's the cadence, whatever key it's in. And when it first appears, it concludes the first movement with a certain hollowness because the harmony on the last note isn't complete. And Magnard waits until the very end of the symphony. I mean, this huge exordium that finally fades away, and then that simple cadence comes back, only this time the harmony is complete on the last note. It's a major chord. One note difference between when we first hear it and when we last hear it, basically, a couple of notes. And it achieves everything. It's so brilliant. It's such genius, and it's unforgettable. It's really, really incredible what, composers can do with simple ideas. He waits to resolve the symphony with that one extra note until the last note of the piece. And it provides such satisfaction. It's impossible to describe what it does, but it's incredible. So, here's a famous example. Oh, it's so famous, but deservedly so. Tchaikovsky's Pathétique Symphony No. 6. Talk about an evocative, quiet ending. Oh, my God, is there anything more illustrative of total black, dark negation, despair, and oh, my God, it's incredible. It's just, those last chords with the the basses. Oh, good Lord. I mean, it makes you want to jump off a cliff or something. It's just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. You actually never really know when this symphony ends. It's like quadruple piano pizzicato bass notes as the last chord drains away. But it's almost impossible to tell where the last note happens. It just evaporates into nothingness. It's chilling. Absolutely fabulously chilling. A totally different ending. Ives, Symphony No. 4. Most people don't talk about Ives in terms of, sort of beauty of conception and things like that. But the last movement of the Ives Fourth is one of the most transcendental and powerful pieces of music anybody ever wrote. It has a couple of elements in it. There is a marching solo percussion group off stage or in the balcony or somewhere else that softly marches through the entire movement. It just keeps going, doing its thing, playing this rhythmic ostinato. Then you've got the movement itself, and then you've got a wordless choir that comes in at the end, doing a wordless version of a hymn tune. And so it rises to this really powerful, dissonant, grinding climax. And then all of a sudden the choir comes in with their da, 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 da. And you've got this sort of piano and glockenspiel and bell sounds all around it, this fog of astral luminosity. That's what it is, folks, astral luminosity. I choose my words carefully, and it just glitters and sparkles. It's looking at the stars at night and gazing into the infinite beyond. And then as it finally drains away, you hear that percussion ostinato, which has been going all along, simply marching into infinity. Wow, what an ending. Just unbelievable. Next, Honegger's Symphony No. 3, the Liturgique. This was also on the last list. Boy, it's such a powerful thing, this ending. The finale is a grinding, evil, menacing machine of war that eventually self-destructs. And then over the wreckage, you hear cool string chords and a gentle piccolo, like the last vestige of life. It's sort of like the piccolo that Mahler does, in the Second Symphony after the big climax before the choir comes in. It's a similar concept, except that in this case the piccolo is playing the motto theme of the whole symphony, which is da ba 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 da 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 do 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 do, does like that, something like that, only really high up as melismatic bird call, and it's chilling on the one hand, and sweet and consoling on the other. It's really quite extraordinary. I remember playing this in the radio station at Johns Hopkins University, and before the news. The news came on at like noon, and that was the last piece I played. And the news broadcaster was a girl who was really, she's one of these goth, heavy metal, body piercing, tattooed mohawk type girls. She's very nice, by the way. We were good friends. And she heard that, and after she did the news, she stayed there. I was thinking, why is she hanging around? She finished the news, but she came in when I got the show going again. And she said, "What was that? That was amazing." And it is. It really is. And then, of course, there's Shostakovich's Symphony No. 15, another ending that gazes into infinitude, into the great nothingness, with a percussion ostinato. It's a ticking clock. Like that, the timpani going boom, boom, bum, 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 and the strings just holding a bare fifth, with the last fulfilling note, as in the Magnard, only touched in with triangle and piccolo, and the very last note, bing, as it all just fades away. It's very long coda too. It does that for quite a while. That rattling and ticking, and it's, oh my gosh, it's so disturbing. It really is. Just amazing. An amazing ending. And you hear Shostakovich, who was basically dying when he wrote this, gazing out into the empty nothingness, which would be his future, actually. It's pretty special, because he was like a hardcore atheist, and he was not doing anything transcendental. He was just trying to imagine the empty barrenness of a lifeless state of some kind. Really, really an amazing, amazing finale. And last but not least, well, here's a surprise, probably the greatest of all quiet endings, the most evocative anyway, Haydn's Farewell Symphony. People don't talk about it, but most people don't realize that classical symphonies almost never end quietly. Usually they end formulaically, with a tonic and dominant, bum, 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 there's a climax and it goes dum ba dum, and it's over. It's just not. I mean, it may be a perfect ending. It may be marvelously satisfying, the way the composer wrote it, but it's not usually something that we remark about. We say, well, that's incredible. Mozart wrote no quiet endings to his symphonies. Beethoven didn't either. Haydn only wrote 2. There's La Chasse and this one. But this one is the fun one, of course, because we all know what happens at the end of the Farewell Symphony, don't we? There's a anxious sounding, quick beginning. It's rather similar to Martinú's Third Symphony when you think about it. A big, anxious first half of the movement, then it stops. And then a slow movement begins. And that slow movement comes round and round and round. It's a big, long melody in several parts. And each instrument in the orchestra gets a solo playing one of the parts, and then it leaves. It literally gets up and leaves until finally, at the end of the symphony, there's just 2 violins left. It was Haydn and his concertmaster, because Haydn played the violin for the purposes of this finale. And they play the tune one last time in the most isolated, lonely. It's not sad. It's stillness. It's music of incredible stillness and loneliness. It's 2 people, 2 little voices out in the vast forest at Esterhazy, and they conclude the symphony with just a couple notes, and it's over. And then they leave, and there's nobody left at the end. It's got to be one of the most evocative. It's also funny. It's a joke, of course, it being Haydn, but a very touching and emotionally satisfying joke. Amazing, amazing piece of music. So there you have it, my friends. The 17, 12, I don't know, 17 is the minutes of this video. The 10 most evocative quiet endings, the Symphony Edition. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.